Hello again, Nathaniel Trail Supervisor with the Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area, here on the Horsetail Falls Trail, which was initially put through, as you can see above me, some pretty steep basalt cliffs, and a couple about 20 feet below me there's another series of steep basalt cliffs. Between those series of cliffs there's a really steep 50% more accrued alluvium slope. So all the loose talus rock from above falls down, piles up into a big steep loose scree slope. Back in sometime maybe the 30s or 40s, the Civilian Conservation Corps came through and cut a trail through that slope. Because of the Eagle Creek fire and a subsequent landslide we had, we're now having to abandon this nice bench that they built for us, and we are cutting a new trail, a reroute, up to the base of the cliffs through the alluvium again. And one way we can do that is pick out the rocks and create a trail. To keep the rocks from falling onto our new trail, we'll have to construct a series of retaining walls to hold that series of rocks back. One thing I like about trails, you use the materials that you have on hand. Here we have a lot of loose, not very big, chunky basalt rocks, which aren't the best building material, but nonetheless, this crew member built a pretty good wall leaning back into the trail. Pretty tight contact, breaking the joints, and this is called a dry laid stone retaining wall because we're not using mortar. We don't want to haul the concrete all the way up here. It's expensive, it's heavy. And one thing I like about this, it looks more natural. The water can weep out of it. The concrete tends to hold the hydrostatic pressure behind it and it'll break out. This wall will shift and settle as the hill itself shifts and settles. Looks a lot more natural. And then as you can see that the initial part of the reroute, we built a pretty, it's a little steep at first, and so we built a series of stone steps. Again, this is kind of a work in progress. We're going to get rid of this berm on the outside so it doesn't look so trenched, but this is one way of ascending up some steep slope. As much as possible, we want to keep the grade level 10 to 15% range, but every once in a while we have to build a series of stairs or ascend a steep section of hill because that's what the land dictates. Here we are in the Horsetail Falls reroute. Again, this is still a work in progress. Still building an outside retaining wall to hold up the actual tread of the trail. And then on the inside, we built another retaining wall to hold up this switchback corner. Again, dry laid stone stacking, no mortar. And we have a nice big turning radius here. The reason we want to have a switchback is because to lessen the grade. We don't want to go straight up the hill. It's hard on the knees. We want to go good, 10% grade, switch back up to 10% grade, and have a nice big turning radius for folks. We'll rake away at this rock, use a lot of this nice smaller material rock to use as the actual trail tread to step on. A lot of this dirt, there's actually dirt in here which is hard to find in the gorge, and this is the stuff that really binds the best trail tread together. So we'll actually be carving through this a lot and transporting it farther up or down trail to use as the tread that we walk on. Here we are on the reroute. This is a section we just cut straight through the alluvium. We're right below the cliffs at this point, and it's the soil, even though it hasn't rained in a number of days, is still really wet because these are really dripping cliffs that happen when it rains. And this part also gets really good soil, really nice material to use for the trail itself. That said, it doesn't hold up all that well once we cut into it. So a lot of times you'll see these flags. These are areas where we're going to need to cut into this a little more, widen the trail a little more, and then try and establish something of a better angle of repose with the slope itself so it's not constantly sloughing onto the trail.